Well, well, well. Another day, another Labour scandal. This is becoming like Groundhog Day. Time after time, we are seeing these politicians think they are above the law, above rules that you and I have to follow. And quite frankly, it's leaving a very distasteful taste in my mouth. Keir Starmer, sort your party out. But we know you won't. We know you're just going to let it brush under the carpet. We know that you're going to claim that everything's all okay. Rachel Reeves should be sacked today, and I'm going to tell you why. Welcome along to True Brit Media. I hope you're well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to whenever you're tuning in. This is the channel in which we like to speak the truth, expose the truth, and live the truth. And the truth must be heard. So if you do love this type of content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button if you think Rachel Reeves should be sacked today. And of course, comment your thoughts again on your feelings, your emotions around the topic that I'm about to discuss. So let's get into it. Rachel Reeves has been found to have had a very, very heinous scandal. She's decided that she doesn't need a license to rent out her home, in which she has moved into 11 Downing Street and renting her home for a very high price, by the way, without a license. I'm thinking that's okay. The same woman who has been against these type of laws and publicly said it. The same woman who has talked about the fact we shouldn't have one rule for one politician and another rule for the normal people. This woman is an absolute joke. She's absolutely really doing my head in, and she is a fraud. I'm going to show you the news today of what I'm talking about. So brace yourselves. Yes, this is disgusting, and have a listen into this.
Well, tonight it seems that Rachel Reeves isn't just Britain's Chancellor. She's a dodgy landlord who also decides what happens to your salary. And that, my friends, is terrifying. Let's get the take of political commentator Lee Harris now. Lee, good evening. Thank you for joining us. So, was it just a mistake? And if so, isn't that worse than something she did deliberately?
Well, it's just another scandal in a long line of scandals from a party who, as you just pointed out, ran an election on being the party of competence and cleaning up politics. This isn't just a normal minister. This is the Chancellor of the Exchequer, who has also, by the way, threatened tax hikes on family homes, imposing new laws on landlords. She's failed to follow the law herself by illegally renting out her house. Some might say this is a mistake. It's true probably to say this isn't the crime of the century. I think the license is about 800 or 900 quid, something like that, to get it done. And apparently it isn't in every single area. So depending on where you live, depends on whether you actually get the license. But this does give an insight into her character. If she can't get the small things right, she's clearly not over the detail, but she can't get the small things right. How do we expect her to run one of the biggest economies in the world? But this also follows, let's not forget, I can't believe it's been so many things, but this also follows, Rayner resigning after avoiding paying stamp duty. I think it was literally only 24 hours ago. We've had Lucy Powell, who's on a list of other ministers, other Labour MPs, who have been renting out their flats to other MPs, and the MP renting out has been claiming it back on expenses. Considering what's happening in this country in a cost of living crisis, and I run a small business, we're being massively squeezed in the small business sector. To see all of this, living day to day like we all do, and then to see yet another scandal from the Labour Party, and we can go all the way back pretty much to their first week in office when we had the freebie scandal. It's just endless. So no, I don't really have much sympathy for her not being over the detail on this, because the same exceptions wouldn't be made for normal people. As I understand it, the fine for this is around 30 grand. I hope she gets the whole 30 grand fine, which she will probably claim on expenses. I do think, yes, it's easy to sort of say we can have sympathy for her for making a mistake, but I strongly believe that if you are a minister of government, the second most important person in our country should be over the detail and held to a higher standard.
There we go. And there's some very, very key poignant points there. And the thing for me is what you said there. She is the Chancellor of Exchequer. Ideally, up there with potentially the second most important person in the country. And if she can't see the details of her own life and knowing the ins and outs of the laws, then how the hell is she going to govern us properly? But it also comes with the fact that we've had Angela Rayner have to resign because she didn't pay stamp duty. Why do these politicians think they are above the law? Why do they think they're above it? And this is the irony of it. Have a look at this, which the opposition leader Kemi has pointed out. Look, have a look at this. She's not having it either. She has said Rachel Reeves was celebrating the renting law being expanded in her constituency. At the same time, she was breaking that law with her own house. Claiming that she wasn't aware of these laws is about as credible as her CV. Kemi is calling out her lies, calling out that don't sit there and pretend you didn't know what was going on. Don't sit there and pretend that you had no idea what you were doing. You just found the loophole. You thought you'd get away with it, and you've been exposed. And this is what Rachel Reeves actually tweeted at the time. It says, I welcome Leeds City Council's decision to expand their selective landlord licensing policy to include the Armley area. While many private landlords operate in the right way, we know that lots of private tenants in Armley face problems with poorly maintained housing. Yes, so here you clearly know the licensing policy and you've been exposed for that. And well done to the opposition leader for calling out really what is just. So that's one thing that really annoyed me, is that basically she knew these laws. This isn't a mistake. This isn't a slip up in detail. This is horrible. And look, I like this. A landlord has come out and said the following, and this for me again screams of the people wanting a fair justice. Says, I'm a landlord. Rachel Reeves, renting a home out without a license is a criminal offence. It carries a penalty of up to 30k. Her tenants can reclaim the 3.2k a month rent, and she could go onto the rogue landlord register. Will we see two-tier justice? And again, that 30k penalty, I expect to hear that being put in place. I expect to see her pay in full. And as that guy said in the interview, if she tries to claim it back on expenses, shameful. And finally, what does Keir Starmer have to say then? What does our Prime Minister, our leader, have to say about his own party scandal? Well, yeah, you're not going to believe it. This is what she has to say. This is what he has to say. Sorry, my alarm's going off there. This is what he has to say. Starmer rules out investigation after Reeves admits a rental rules mistake. Oh, so Starmer, no backbone, no spine. Unbelievable. Sir Keir Starmer has dismissed calls for an investigation into Chancellor Rachel Reeves after she apologised for breaking housing rules when renting out her family home. In a letter to the Prime Minister, Reeves admitted she did not obtain a selective rental licence required to rent a home and sincerely apologised for her inadvertent error. In reply, the Prime Minister said he was happy the matter could be drawn into a close after consulting his independent ethics advisor, who has decided not to launch an investigation. The Conservatives have called for an investigation and for Reeves to be sacked. I mean, that sums it up again. Keir Starmer, spineless Starmer, toothless Starmer, won't make those tough decisions, won't do what is needed for the people. You can't have someone who knows the laws breaking them. You can't have someone who's in that position of higher standard power to go and blatantly go about it in the way and manner they want. She's a hypocrite. It's obnoxious, and an apology will not cut it. This is another scandal that is tarring the Labour Party and tarring the public's perception of the leadership of Keir Starmer. It's fraudulent, and I'm done with it. And I've got one more clip to show you, which probably sums up the irony and hypocrisy of Rachel Reeves, which is this. Have a look at this one. This will make you laugh, actually. This one will genuinely make you laugh, because once again, she has said in 2021 that there is one rule for those at the top and another for everybody else that we need to root out of politics. And I'm going to literally play you.
Growing feeling that there's one rule for those at the top and another for everybody else that we need to root out of our politics. A whole growing feeling that there's one rule for those at the top and another for everybody else that we need to root out of our politics.
Someone should probably play that note to Rachel Reeves and remind her of her own words. You're the root of the problem. You are a hypocrite, and you should be answered for. You should be sacked immediately. I'm sick of it. People, make sure you subscribe to the channel, get in the comments, like it up, share it around, and let people know the scandal that is Rachel Reeves. I'm out of here. Ta-da.